Hello, I'm Tyler Fisher. I'm a news sites developer at NPR. Since the election, I've been thinking a lot about how to use my skills as a developer to change how NPR covers the president. This talk is going to urge you to do the same. Here's the problem. There are too many damn Trump stories. I tried to list everything that happened on Friday, February 24th in 8-point font, and I couldn't fit it on the slide. Right now, newsrooms are considering everything as an individual story. It's in our DNA and ingrained in our processes to do so. We flail around trying to cover everything as its own unit. The result of that is a fire hose. To keep up with our news, the only option for most audience members is to drink from it and read story after story, and that is exhausting. People are trying, but keeping up with everything seems impossible. To fix it, I propose that newsrooms must seriously reconsider rethinking the story model, by which I mean newsrooms need to start thinking about other ways of collecting information and conveying it beyond the 800-word story. But that's a tall order, and it marks a radical change, which is why this change has to come from within, through Subverting. And it'll be most effective if it comes from you, because of the skills that you have as a member of the NICAR community. I found two effective framings for subverting the story model so far. The first is to borrow a phrase from my editor, David Eads, to turn spectacle into evidence. Our most successful form of this has been our live annotations of presidential debates and notable speeches by the president. Basically what we do is we pull a caption feed and we dump that into a Google Doc where we have about 24 reporters at any given time waiting to annotate that Google Doc. We take the Google Doc, transform it into HTML, we can put it on the page, which is the GIF you see there. The tool that does all that stuff is open source at the link at the very bottom, and we're continuing to develop on it as we improve the system. The key piece here is the Google Doc. For an average Trump piece, we'll have our politics desk, business desk, immigration reporters, crime reporters, and others all in the Google Doc waiting to add their expertise to the particular piece of the speech they're interested in. Normally they'd all write separate stories or do different radio hits or whatever, but now we're adding all of our expertise into one reusable resource. And that, our audience has really responded to that really well. We're taking a similar approach to one of the biggest spectacles of President Trump's administration, his Twitter account. Instead of writing a story for every tweet, we decided to make the account a story, and we aggregate our fact-checking and annotations to make each piece more atomic. Now our reporters can write 100 words instead of 800, and the way this is also open source at the link below, we did this with a very, very bare bones Django app, and it's more a thinking of framing than it is of supreme technology or anything. In both cases, we built systems that allow our reporters to annotate primary source documents. Our presentation model gives the primary source as much weight as our reporters' work, and readers are getting both full context and full expertise and depth of our reporting. This model ties ourselves to the newsworthy event, but it preserves everything that happened. We can't be accused of taking things out of context. The second framing I have is to build expandable resources rather than incremental stories. Our best example of this, we recently launched the Trump Ethics Monitor, where we track whether President Trump has fulfilled his promises to resolve his various ethical issues regarding his administration and his businesses. Typically, we would handle each ethical concern separately with a separate story. Each development, we would write a new story and put it at the top of our homepage. And we would try to write in all the context in every story as we can. But only the most well-read audience member is going to be able to follow all of these things. They need to read every incremental story. This, on the other hand, aggregates all the information in one place, and no matter when you come to it, you have the most up-to-date info. If a new development occurs, we will add it here, and we will promote the whole resource again. You may be wondering, what's the big deal? This is just what data journalists do. We aggregate, we collect, we summarize, and we contextualize. The big deal for me is that it's not me doing it. I built the system, but reporters in my newsroom are now writing in Django admins, they're writing in Google Docs, they're writing in spreadsheets. They're looking to do the work that we do. And we can fundamentally change how newsrooms operate because of the way the news is paced now. We can't do it with our old model. Our audience is also responding. Reporters and editors are hungry for ways to make sense of delusional news, and this community knows how to do it. I encourage you to go home on Monday and start pitching. Your newsrooms and your audience will thank you. I need to acknowledge some prior art. Adrian Halabadi and Derek Willis especially have written essays that are foundational in my thinking here. I just want to acknowledge them. Thank you. Go forth and change your newsrooms.